French-Swiss motorsport driver Romain Grosjean, who raced in Formula 1 for 11 years from 2009 to 2020, has recently been involved in an internet spat with a troll. The driver, who has also authored a cookbook alongside his wife, as well as owning an esports racing team, was recently angered by a comment on Twitter. Today, we're discussing Grosjean's response to a troll with just 17 followers. Stay with us. Let's jump straight in then. What went down? Most celebrities and sports stars simply ignore disparaging comments on social media, but not our man Romain. Last week, IndyCar fan page ChampWeb posed a question to its fans regarding the former Lotus and Haas man, which initially praised him for being exciting to watch at the very least. However, they went on to say that the results of late hadn't been great, before saying, "Can't imagine it will get much better out of Iowa either. Will RG get a win this year?" As you will know if you follow the sport, Grosjean's best result this season is just the second place finish in Long Beach, but he's also optimistic that he can pick up his form in the remaining races. He responded by saying, "Don't rule me out," whilst also posting a wink emoji. However, he was irked by another response to the question from a user called Taylor Smith, who posted, "Hasn't made many friends and the other drivers know how he is on the track now," before going on to say, "Used up all of his free passes last year, will be tough sledding going forward." This clearly angered the Frenchman, who immediately replied to the troll saying, "Hi Taylor, would you mind telling me who did I push off track? I made some strong and brave pass," before admitting he had made a coup of mistakes in Detroit last year and Mid-Ohio this year. What did you guys make of the exchange? So was that the end of it? Hardly. Stay tuned. Well, the troll clearly had Grosjean's attention and wasn't about to let his 15 minutes of fame go to waste. Taylor replied to Grosjean, whose best performance in F1 came via a 7th placed finish in 2013, saying, "You've been aggressive and that's okay." Romain must have been so glad the troll validated his aggression. He also said to Grosjean, "We've heard from your peers that they haven't liked how you've driven. I'm all for drama and more eyes on the sport. Good luck the rest of the way." His words were somewhat odd given the fact that it is well known that Grosjean is universally liked throughout motorsport. So we've no idea where he got the idea from that the French-Swiss driver's tactics weren't particularly liked. And he did have a bit of a spat with his Andretti Autosport teammate Alexander Rossi at the Mid-Ohio race, with the pair coming to blows. The incident prompted Grosjean to refer to his teammate as an absolute idiot after the race, but it is thought the rest of the field likes and respects him. Grosjean left it at that with Smith, but it is slightly odd that a professional driver would engage someone of this standing. It's rare for professional sports people to engage anyone in social media spats, especially someone with a limited following, so Grosjean must have taken his words to heart. What did you guys make of the incident? Let us know what you think below. Next up, Grosjean has been discussing his relationship with Lewis Hamilton. Stay tuned. Grosjean and Hamilton were regularly at each other's throats during the 2010s, with the pair sharing the whole decade together in the sport. And now that the French-Swiss driver has been away a couple of years, he's had a little bit of time to let the dust settle on their relationship. Speaking recently, Romain said that he has huge respect for the record world championship winner, despite not always seeing eye to eye. Grosjean was one of the drivers who decided not to take a knee after Hamilton had urged the field to do so, prompting Hamilton to say at the time, "Grosjean doesn't think it's important to do it. Grosjean is one of them that thinks that it is done once and that's all we need to do. I tried to speak to Grosjean about what the problem is and it's not going away. However, it is Grosjean's prerogative as to whether or not he wants to take a knee and shouldn't feel pressured by Hamilton to do so. If he wants to take part, fine, but if he doesn't, Hamilton shouldn't call him out for it." The pair also clashed on Twitter after an incident in Hungary last year, but Grosjean addressed the Hamilton beef in a recent Q&A on his YouTube channel, saying, "I have huge respect for him. He's one of the best drivers ever. He's been an incredible 7-time world champion, fighting Max Verstappen in 2021 in a really strong way with not the best car." Grosjean has also taken the blame for his Mercedes test delay. Stick around to hear about it. According to Grosjean, his test with Mercedes is still very much on the table, amid reports that it had been scuppered. His final season was cut short, having been involved in that horrific fireball crash in Bahrain, but Toto Wolff appeared to have saved the day by offering him a drive in a Mercedes to give him a proper send-off before making his move to the States. He was supposed to test at last year's French, but COVID saw to it that that didn't happen. season, and soon after his IndyCar career started, so he never really got to say goodbye properly, which is a shame considering he dedicated more than 10 years of his career to the sport. In the same YouTube Q&A in which he discussed his relationship with Hamilton, Grosjean was asked if he had had a chance to drive the Mercedes yet, replying, "Not yet, and it is 100% my fault. I haven't been able to give Mercedes some dates that I am back in Europe. If you have been following me on socials, you will know that I have moved to the US, Miami." He went on to blame his super hectic schedule as well as the COVID interruption, before also revealing that they had a date where they wanted to do it in September at Silverstone, but the track was already booked, which is a shame for Romain. What do you guys make of this? He's also been discussing his old team Haas. Stay tuned. Speaking last month, Grosjean said that he fears that Mick Schumacher will be turned into a scapegoat for what he views as the team's typical downward spiral. Grosjean raced for the team for 5 seasons, so he knows a thing or two about the intricacies and politics surrounding the team. Whilst he did have a few good moments with the Haas team, he also experienced some pretty low lows. And discussing Schumacher, son of legendary Ferrari driver Michael, Grosjean said he fears for the young German, who at the time he was talking still hadn't scored a point, but now has 12. Kevin Magnussen has impressed so far with 22 points, and Grosjean has explained that Schumacher needs to get back on track and on his feet. He went on to explain that he's been having a tough time of it this season and hasn't been helped by the car as it appears to be going a little backward. Grosjean went on to say he probably wants to do what Kevin did earlier in the season with 5th place finishes and some points, but right now the car cannot do it because there haven't been any updates on it, before suggesting the situation has happened before, saying, "That is very typical for Haas. You start well and go backward. I know too well." Sounds like he might be a little bitter about how things played out during his time racing for the American team. What do you guys think? And finally, Grosjean has been revealing what he keeps in his own garage recently. Stay with us. Like all good racers, Romain Grosjean's personal garage is pretty impressive. He recently uploaded a video on his YouTube channel to satisfy demand from his fans who wanted to know what he was keeping in his garage. And you won't be surprised to learn that he has a couple classics on display, as well as some more regular motors. The first one on display was the Honda Ridgeline pickup, which seems to have been custom made for Grosjean as it features a few subtle differences from the regular versions. He also has a Honda Pilot, and then moved on to show fans his 1981 BMW R100 RS motorbike, which still features original parts. However, the pièce de résistance was the golden 1966 Ford Mustang, which he actually used to drive around his native Switzerland. Pretty cool. You would think for a former F1 driver, his garage would be full of cool cars, but it was actually relatively modest, somewhat surprisingly. What is your dream car? As usual, thanks for tuning in today, and remember to swing by again next time for some more fun and games. Why not do us a solid by liking and sharing today's video with any petrol heads? Bye guys!